Okay, now we start to find out what we don't know. Discuss the initial board responsibilities, duties, and there is a paper in here, a booklet in here called Reorganization, Dissolution, and Sharing Guide. And there are some areas of that that really don't pertain anymore. It's already water under the bridge. But there are other areas that do, so we should proceed to discuss those. So probably beginning on page 43.
Yep, and I gave you a 2-page handout. There's a front and back of, no, I didn't. You can tell by the look on your face, yeah. What handout are we talking about? Okay, you have a handout that has a couple, 3 pages to it, and what I thought I would do tonight would be to walk you through the bold areas on the pages that I noted for you to take a look at if you had time to do that. Because part of what you need to know is that there are many parts of this that are not applicable. So if you see NAs are completed, you can go, phew, you know, those are things that are sort of off the list already. So if you happen to have that guide in front of you, and if you want to walk through it, we're going to start on page 43, and under the post-reorganization election activities.
Are we all supposed to have one of those?
Oh, I didn't give you one either.
No. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what you were looking for, sorry. That was just to cause you frustration. So that you could.
I don't get very frustrated.
So that first area on page 43 under post-reorganization election activities is hearing and election expenses. And just talking about how the expenses are shared between the districts. As you noted, you approved bills for expenses from the AEA already, so that's completed. Page 44, changes in AEAs. This would only have to do if we had, if the 2 districts were not in the same AEA, which they are, so that's not applicable to us. Concurrent action would really has to do with whether we have property in or out of the districts, and we had no petition for that, so that's not applicable. Notification of the county that talks about the changes in the school boundaries, and that's already been completed. Division of assets and liabilities. I didn't put a note beside because I was waiting for a reply from the Department of Education. Because there are no liabilities, the district's responsibilities are really entirely different. What you're going to be dealing with are the assets of the district. And part of what you will determine is how long will you actually leave some SAC, Wall Lake View Auburn money available to pay bills after July 1st of next year. And when set some sort of, I'll call it a temporary or a conditional date when we want all vendors and all bills paid by X date. You know, you might set it 60 to 90 days after July 1st. And then kind of reconcile general funds or reconcile funds at that point. Those decisions about those timelines and how you're going to do that, even though there are only assets, not like bonded indebtedness or anything like that, those decisions have to be determined by this board by July 20th of next year. So by July 20th, 2011, this board has to determine, you have to give the business manager or the business office some sort of guideline about approximately how much monies are held out to pay outstanding bills, and when you're going to try to officially close the books for the SAC district and the Wall Lake View Auburn district. And you might set a date, let's say 60 days. Let's say it's the end of August. And if you find that not everything is taken care of at that time, all the business office has to do is let you know that, and you can either make a determination that any subsequent bills that were owed from SAC or Wall Lake View Auburn would be paid by East Sac County checks at that time, or you can leave it open another 20 days or another 30 days. But that first decision has to be made by July 20th of 2011. And well, I just didn't understand that when I read this completely.
Can we notify them that if they haven't submitted the bill, and if we had 20 days, and can we then notify them if they haven't submitted the bill within those 20 days that it will no longer be honored?
Probably not, but I don't know. I don't know about that part. I'm not sure. I would imagine if it was a dissolution of a district,
Yeah.
you probably would have some timeline that was like that. I don't know. And,
Well, it is the dissolution of two districts.
not by the definition of dissolution at the state guide.
Yeah.
Actually, what we can have Dr. Feeney do is kind of make a list, and he and I can talk about who the contact person at the DE is, that Joyce Thompson I talked to you about, and she's the person that will answer those kinds of questions. If we set those numbers of days, just suppose that's a board member for information, since we're missing a few. We're going to be about that 3 or 4 or 5 paragraph section right there. Really, that's really what the job of the district, that this board is, and that's what the timeline would be for it. That next item is fixing director district boundaries, not applicable. Special election of new board doesn't have to do with this board because we use the alternate methods. The board was voted in by the two established boards already.
Can we back up a second here?
Mm-hmm.
Fixing director district boundaries. There was some discussion following, well, even prior to the election and following the vote that we would consider the matter of director districts. Are we going to do that or not?
Have you heard a lot of, has anybody talked to you about it after the election?
I've had a few people talk to me. I haven't heard a lot of discussion about it, and I haven't had anybody who's real adamant about it. But
I haven't had anybody approach me about it at all.
well, then,
One of the things that
They probably won't until it's time for
yeah,
re-election.
that's right. Get ready for election, and then you probably hear about it.
one of the resources that you do have is that the AEA asked for a study of that very topic. At the time when the reorganization committee was working and those questions came up. And the AEA actually paid someone from, actually we probably paid for it now that I think about it, they probably billed it back to us, but there was a person or a group who was hired to do that, and they took a look at the population as it's dispersed in East Back County and drew up some possible director districts with the idea that if it ever came to that, through that early process, that would be available. Never have seen it because all the AEA said was, we have those if that's ever necessary to be used. So we would just need to contact the AEA, and that resource would still be available, which would give you some ideas, which could be shared if you wanted to, about what those director districts look like. Because I think what would be surprising is that the director districts are at least 2, and I think maybe even 3 of them were combinations of the old Sac-Wall Lakeview Auburn district. That there weren't 2 and then 3 or 2, 2 and 1. I think to spread the population pretty evenly, the districts were combinations of the old districts, which would probably be
See, that's
surprising or interesting.
That's another thing. The few people that have wanted to discuss this have all suggested 2, 2, and 1 at large. 2 from the SAC district, 2 from the WLBA district, the original districts, and then 1 at large. So, and that may not be as equitable as it should be if we really get down to studying numbers and things like that.
I feel that there was enough people that did have an issue with it at the time of the election that we should at least address it and look at it.
Put it on the agenda for the next time we have this one meeting.
Yeah,
Or not this one.
and have that information there, reorganized. Because I think if we just table it, then we're kind of doing those people that we did say we would probably look at
We're
another
telling them that
service.
we're not interested in
Yeah.
what you are suggesting to us. We may not be, but at least I think we have the responsibility to consider it.